What's going on? What's going on, family? Greetings, greetings, greetings. Once again, this is Chief Kalanago. And as promised, a couple hours later, I'm here with another video. All right, now, today we are going to go to church because today is Sunday. All right, meaning that the sun is out where I'm at. Whenever the sun is out, it is a Sunday. All right, so keep that in mind. I want to acknowledge the great spirit, universal intelligence, the universal I am. I want to give my ancestors, again, just the honor and respect, for just helping me, just helping me be who I am. I always give thanks again to my higher self for, teaching me and helping me to become the best I am that I can be. All right, guys. So this here is going to be deep. Now, before I proceed, do me a favor, guys. Make sure you share this video on your respective platforms. Let's get as many people on here as possible. The people who cannot catch the live, give me a second. All right. If we cannot catch the live, then that's fine. If they cannot catch the live, they will see the recording. All right. But definitely, the purpose of this, again, is for educational purposes. And I'm not here to condemn whatever religion or whatever beliefs that you have. I'm just here to enhance what you have. In other words, I'm here to show you the truth. You see, because it's only the truth that could set you free, not half the truth, not some of the truth, not a little bit of the truth, the complete truth. All right. So therefore, the truth doesn't need to be defended. All right. The truth doesn't need to be disguised. So with that being said, that's what we're going to dive into. We're going to dive into the truth. Let me just make sure I'm good on YouTube as well, while we give some people some time to log in here for a second. Hold on for a second. All right. All right. So we good on YouTube. All right, guys. So what are we going to do today is in this video, in this lesson, we're going to break down I am, what God truly is, the I am. Okay. We are going to break that down. We are also going to break down the concept of Jesus because they are all concepts. Okay, they are all concepts. And when I'm done with this lesson, you will see that there is nothing but you. Okay, that's all that exists. Now, one of what we have to realize is this. Okay, when you are in school, keep that in mind. And everything that I talk about is things that are just using your discernment, using your mind. The mind that you have within you, use it to think, okay? And stop allowing people to think for you. Even if people give you information, you still have to process the information and see if it resonates with your soul, your spirit, the inner self. You see what I'm saying? So anything that I bring to you, I would like you to do some research. In fact, even before you do the research, do some in searching. All right. Do some in searching. And if there is just a little inclination, all right, that it's the truth, then you could start doing some research. All right. Because the truth is always within. Okay. So with that being said, when you are in school and the teacher is talking, okay, or the teacher is giving a lesson or a lecture, whatever you want to call it, and the teacher uses a word that you don't know the meaning of, what do they tell you? When you say, well, teacher, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, what is the meaning of that word? Even your parents, what do they tell you? Now, I would like this to be a little interactive. Okay, so those of you that's on here with me right now, just play along with me, please. Okay, and if you could answer that for me, okay? If you could answer that for me, that would be great. When you ask your mother or your father what's the meaning of a word, or you ask the teacher what's the meaning of a word, okay, what do they tell you to do? Can anybody post that in the chat right now, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube? Anybody? Can anybody post in the chat for me, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, when you ask your teacher, your mother, your father, the meaning of a word, What is the first thing they tell you? Go get what? Go look it up where? Now, if you guys are shy, then it's okay. I could answer it myself. Okay? They tell you to look it up where? And you're absolutely right. Look, there you go. A dictionary. Thank you for that. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. Now, you guys are absolutely correct. Look it up in a dictionary. So let me ask you a question. How is that when people go to church? And I'm not here to knock churches again. I'm here so that I could force these ministers and pastors and people to bring the truth out of them. Okay? That's what this is all about. So why is that when it's a book, and any book that you don't understand any word, you have to get a dictionary? Okay? Diction, it deals with the language. It tells you what it means. Okay? Now, with that being said, why don't people in church have a dictionary? Why don't they have a Bible dictionary? When the truth of the matter is, the society, okay, that created the Bible, because it was a league of men, okay? It was a league of men, a legion of men that came together and put these books together. Whether you think it was ancient, whether you think it's recent, I don't care. The point is, it was men that got together. It could be ancient knowledge that was rewritten. That's irrelevant. The bottom line is, they all boil down to the same principle, but it is being taught differently. I'm going to repeat myself. The concept of every Bible, the Quran, whatever you want to call them, when you really truly read it and you get a true understanding of what it says, it boils down to one thing. Okay, everything comes from within. So why not teach people that instead of all the parables? So what we're going to do today, we are going to go straight into what it was supposed to be, what it was meant to be, and not what they tell you it is. Okay, we are going back to the Gnostics. When the Gnostics were the one telling the truth. Okay, so my question is, why, when you are in church and there are words being used, remember, the power of life and death is in the tongue. Okay, you have to know the breakdown of the words. In the beginning was the word, right? And the word became God, as they said. And then it manifests in the flesh. So words are very important. So you have to know exactly what they are. And that's what we are going to do today. We are in church, but we're going to go through two of the main characters in the Bible. The God in the Bible, which is, he said his name was I Am, and then the son of the I Am, which is Jesus. Now, we're not going to debate about Jesus wasn't the real name, all that stuff. Again, all that's irrelevant, because whether you say Jesus, whether you say Yeshua, whether you say Zeus, whether you say Mithra, whether you say Apollo, whether you say Buddha, whether you say Heru, guess what, guys? They all have the same story. Okay, for the most part. There are about 25 so-called messiahs born on the 25th. They rose, born of a virgin. Okay, Jesus was just the last one that was popularized. He won the popularity contest. Okay, so I'm going to break down to you exactly what it was meant to be and not what they tell you it is. Okay, so we're going to use a Bible dictionary for that. Okay, we're going to use a Bible dictionary for that. Now, also what I did was I put that Bible dictionary in the chat for you guys so you could have a copy of it yourself and do your own studying. Okay, because that's what this is about. Becoming the best you that you could be, ascending into the Christ. That's what this is about. All right. And like I tell people, I am here to do the works. All right. Where I'm going to be doing greater works than Jesus. Because even in the Bible, Jesus said, you will be greater than I am. You will do the greater things than I am. So with that being said, I'm here to raise people from the dead, not physically, but like Jesus, the spiritual dead. Okay, so I just want to point that out and make that clear. So we are going to go into the so we're going to talk about those two entities right now. Okay, in the Bible, we're going to talk about the God that I am. No matter what name you call that, you call him, her, it don't matter. Again, it's just a name. All names are physical. All right, keep that in mind. So I don't know why people always get into big debates. Oh, well, the name is Allah. Oh, well, the name is Yeshua. Oh, the name is this and the name is that. Family, all that stuff is man-made. Nobody came from the sky and tell anybody anything. And that's facts. Okay? All that's man-made. And every individual have a right, okay, to call their own personal God, whatever name that they want to. You see what I'm saying? You have that right because it's a personal relationship with the higher self, which is in you, okay, which is an extension of the universal intelligence of what we call universal God. That's an extension of that. That's what's in you. That's your personal God. And you have a right to call it whatever you want. That's if you so choose. Okay? If you want to get into the names. But all names for the universal all, the great spirit, what you call God, all names are man-made. All right? And anybody who tried to force the name of their God on you, all right, they want you to be enslaved. Keep that in mind. Remember, religion, legion is an army. Re means to bring it back. Let's bring back that old-time religion. Let's bring back that army. Okay? Now, I'm going to share this with you. So I'm going to start with, like I said, we're going to talk about those two entities. All right? We're going to talk about God, the I am, and we're going to talk about Jesus, and we're going to break it down. All right? In the Bible, okay? Using the Bible dictionary, breaking that down to you to prove to you again, there is no sky daddy looking down, judging anybody, or there's no man in a place called hell burning with eternal fire with a pitchfork and horns waiting to compete with God for souls. Okay? That's a fairy tale. That is fear induced. Okay? To keep people in servitude. You did. All righty. So let me go ahead and share this. And you guys have a version of that. I actually bought the actual book. I spent almost about 150 something for that, almost $200 for that. So because I knew the significance, and I've had that for over 10 years. You see what I'm saying? Because you have to do your own growing and your own growth, before you start teaching or reaching. That's why Jesus, the man, okay, he did not preach the gospel until he got what? Baptized. You see, you have to renew of the mind before you could start injecting things into people. That's why I tell people they don't know exactly what Jesus means and what Jesus stood for. The majority of the people in religion, they serve Jesus, but they don't follow Jesus. You see what I'm saying? So we're going to break all this down today. And once again, I'm not making fun of people. I'm not here to slight anybody. I'm here to put the truth out there, and you do what you want with it. Now, once you learn the truth, cognitive dissonance might kick in. Why? Because it is challenging your foundation of what you were taught to be the truth. And no matter what I show you, some people might even say I'm going to go to hell, or it's blasphemy. But again, I forgive them because they know not what they are saying and what they are doing, because they are lost. I get it. So it's all right. So we're going to talk about the I am. Okay? The I am. All right. So the I am. So now we're going to look at things from a metaphysical standpoint. Now, the first thing before we do that, what is the meaning of metaphysical? So what are we going to do even before we go into that? We're going to look at the etymology of the word metaphysics in pertaining to metaphysical. Okay, so let me go ahead and share that with you, because I don't just like to talk about things. I like to break things down. All right, so that a child could comprehend. Okay, let it make sense to a child. So here we go. And I'm not calling you guys children, by the way. All right. Now, metaphysics, the noun. Okay, the science of the inward and the essential nature of things. End of story. The science of the inward and essential nature of things. So metaphysics deals with the inward being, because once again, we created the universe from an implosion and not an explosion, because it's within us. Everything you see outside of you is within you. That's why your thoughts are so important. You have to be mindful with your words. In fact, your thoughts first, then the words that you speak. Why? Because it becomes your reality. That's what creates your physical world. All right. So I wanted to show you what metaphysics mean. The etymology, the root of the word, the foundation of the word, the science of the inward and essential nature of things. Point blank. All right. Now let us go into I am. When the Bible speaks of I am, what is the Bible talking about? Is the Bible talking about some mystical figure in the air with a beard looking down on people? No. That's what they want you to think, but they're not telling you the truth. Okay? Now, here we are. I am. Metaphysical. I am is God's name in man. Okay? I am is God's name in man. Period. So each individual have that I am in them. I'm going to repeat that. I am is God's name in man. Now, in the metaphysical Bible, it says it is Jehovah, the indwelling Christ. Again, that's a name that they gave the Christ. And what does Christ means? Christ only mean to be anointed, the anointed one. That's all Christ mean. Now, if you want to give your Christ a name, that's on you. So certain religions, they give Christ the name Jehovah. That's fine. That's on them. Nobody could say that it's wrong. No, they have, as a society, as a community, they have a right to come together when they do the communion. They have a right to call that Christ whatever they want, the anointed one. That's it. Just like how you have a right to call your Christ in you whatever name you want, because all Christ means is anointed one. Okay? The true spiritual man whom God made in his image and likeness. Let us stop here for a second. In the Bible, when it said, okay, let us make man, us as speaking to the council, that's the us, a collective of I ams, okay, coming together in thought, saying we are going to create in our own likeness and image. What does that mean? That's the universal thought, okay? That's what it is, even before the creation of the physical man. So I'm going to read that again. I am is God's name in man. It is Jehovah. That's what they're saying here. Now, that's not my thing. But, however, the dwelling Christ, which is Christ means anointed one, the true spiritual man whom God made in his, her, it, image, and likeness. The outer manifest man is the offspring of the I am or inner spiritual man. And who is the outer offspring of that I am? Jesus, the Christ. And we all have that in us. Now, let me ask you a question. Who is the outer offspring of the I am in you? Your physical body, your conscious mind. Okay? So your conscious mind is a representation of Jesus, the physical man, not the Christ. Those are two different entities. Okay. One is spiritually capable of sin, which is the man, Jesus. That means it could be tempted. It has free will. All right. But the I am is set in just intelligence. It just is. So I hope you guys are with me so far. Okay, so I'm going to read that again. The outer manifest man is the offspring of the I am, or the inner spiritual man. By use of I am, we link ourselves with outer seemings, or we make conscious union with the Father. I'm going to say mother as well. Okay, with spirit, with abiding life, wisdom, love, peace, substance, strength, power, truth. The kingdom of heaven is where? Within us. So why are religious people on their knees looking for the kingdom of heaven up there in the sky? The only thing you're going to see is the outer realms. You will see a plane, you will see a bird, but you will not see the kingdom of heaven out there. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Why? Because the I am, okay, that universal intelligence dwells in you. You have the characteristics of that in you. So from the moment you start looking for your God out there, that's how I know you are worshiping false gods. Okay? Because it's within you. All right? It's within you. Now, the I am always assures us that the preponderance of power is with spiritual. Fear throws dust in our eyes and hides the mighty spiritual forces that are always with us. Isn't that what most institutions do? They throw fear into our eyes, right? They throw fear into our eyes like dust, all right? And it hides the mighty spiritual forces that are always with us. They don't want us to know how powerful we are within. So they have to give us all these external things. In other words, I'm not going to realize how powerful I am. I have to look for an outside source to give me the power so I could become powerful, when the truth of the matter is the power is within you. So do not allow any institution, no matter what they call themselves, to throw dust in your eye with fear. Oh, well, if you don't believe in this, you're going to hell. What hell are you talking about? Okay? Keep that in mind. Now let's proceed. Now it's said here, blessed, okay, which of course we know what be less. We're not going to deal with that right now. Okay, but I'm going to say, blissful are those who deny ignorance and fear. You hear that? It says, blissful are those who deny ignorance and fear. So therefore, if you don't deny ignorance and fear, then that means you are not blissful. You are be less. Now, I'm not sure if y'all ready for this today, but I'm going to give y'all the work. Okay? I'm going to repeat that again. Blissful are those who deny ignorance and fear. So it means if you don't deny ignorance and you don't deny fear, that means you are be less. You are be lessened. You are blessed. Okay? And affirm the presence and the power of the I am. You have to affirm the power and the presence of the I am that's within you. Why? Because the kingdom of heaven is within you. You want to experience heaven, you go within and find heaven. It's only when you find the heaven within yourself, then heaven will be outside of you. But first, you have to find it within. Now, it says, they behold the mountain, exaltation. The mountain is another, exaltation is another word for mountain. Like I told y'all before, okay, different eras, okay, when they use certain words, it meant different things. It was allegorically speaking. They use metaphors, they use satire, they use different forms of writing to express themselves. All right. They behold the mountain, exaltation, full of horses. What's a horse? Another word for powerful force. You see how it's being broken down here? Powerful forces. And chariots of fire, which is what? Life energies. So when you hear about the chariots of fire in the Bible, that's nothing but life energies. That's all it is. Okay? It is not a mystical, chariot with a horse, with flying in the sky with a golden streak. And no, it is just life energies. All right. Round about Elijah, and then Elijah is the spiritual I am. And if you go and you look into King James, the second King James, chapter 6, 8 to 23, it speaks about that, the Elijah, the I am. That's within you. Okay? The I am can also be explained as the name of the spiritual self, as distinguished from the sensate self. In other words, the conscious mind. All right? One is governed by I am the God. That's who is supposed to govern you. I am. That's why in every society, all right, people governed themselves. Okay? Until, of course, colonization, and we know what happened, right? But one is governed by God, the I am. And when they use God here, they're not talking about an external force. They're not talking about a sky daddy that's governing. No, that's the government. Okay? They're talking about the inner spirit, that voice, that inner entity, the I am. That's who you should be governed by. The other, by self. Okay? Remember, two entities, right? You have the subconscious mind and you have the conscious mind. The subconscious mind deals with everything within the heavenly realm. And the conscious mind deals with things within the spiritual realm, which is the physical body. All right? So remember, the higher self should always come first. The I am in you, which is what they call God, should always be first. Now, Christ is the scriptural name for the spiritual I am. You hear what they said? The scriptural name. So if it wasn't scriptural, then it could have been something else. Like in other religions, they will call it something else. But within certain scriptures, Christ is the scriptural name for the spiritual I am. However, you have every right to call your spiritual I am what you want. Now, Jesus called it Father. It doesn't mean you can't call it Mother. Okay? You see what it says? Call it Father. So it doesn't mean you can't call it, Mother. It's really up to you. It doesn't matter. But when I acknowledge my spiritual parents, I don't look at it as a gender. I don't look at it as male or female. I just know it's universal intelligence, and I acknowledge that. Okay? Now, it is the father or mother of the personal will. Okay? And a conscious unity between the two must finally be made to preserve the oneness of creation. In other words, there have to be a perfect marriage. Okay? When they speak of being unequally yoked, that's what they're talking about. Not just in the flesh between a man and a woman. That is just symbolism, okay, of the higher self and the lower self. You feel me? And when they are married, in other words, they have a true understanding of each other and they know each other's role, now they will preserve oneness of creation. That is what is meant by the phrase, he that doeth the will of my father/mother, we must do the very will of God, the I am, in our will, which is virtually surrender to the whole man, to the I am. Okay? So you have to surrender your physical self, surrender your conscious self to your unconscious self, okay, which is the I am. so that you could start experiencing yourself as who you truly are. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now let's proceed. Spiritual character is the rock foundation of being. Build yourself into the I am, which you call God, and you will find yourself in heaven right here on earth. You see what I'm saying? People don't realize heaven is right here on earth. The reason why they cannot find heaven on earth and they think it's somewhere out there in the sky is because they haven't found heaven within themselves. You have to find heaven within yourself. But before you even find heaven within yourself, you have to find the king or the queen of heaven, because the kingdom of heaven is within. So for you to find the kingdom or the queendom, you have to identify the king or the queen, or else you will not know it's a kingdom or a queendom. So you have to identify the I am in you, what they call God, the Great Spirit, whatever you call it. You have to identify that first, and then you can establish the kingdom or the queendom within you. Okay? Now, that's why it says, let me see, let go on here on earth. Now it says, so then you're able to find heaven on earth. Okay? Let go of the little self and take hold of the big self. All right? That's why, and I could prove everything that I say. Even when you went back to Egypt, right? When you look at the Sphinx, you will see with the Sphinx that the Sphinx has a human head and an animal body. Okay? The human head is the big self, and the animal body is the little self, the animalistic ways. That's why Jesus, the physical man, again, the allegorical Jesus, that's why Jesus, the physical man, had to be born in a manger. In other words, born at the lowest level with the animals, in the animal self, in the lowest chakra. And he had to learn to rise and overcome that, okay? And get hold of the big self to ascend into the Christ, the spiritual I am, the spiritual man. All right? Now, not my will. When they say not my will, they're talking about the will of the physical man, the will of the animalistic man. It is not his or her will. However, but thine be done, meaning that the will of the higher self be done. The I am of each individual, you hear that? Of each individual. Therefore, each of us have our own I am. The I am of each individual is the will in its highest aspect. The will may be said to be the man because it is the directive power that decides the character formation, which makes what we call individuality. And then if you see Christ, Jesus, Jehovah, and Joshua, that's what it all means. You see what I'm saying? The man, the physical man, is here to do the will of the higher self. All right, guys, let's proceed. I am is spiritual identity. But before let me just digress here for a second, because I want to make sure that I go over this again right here, where I'm going to just underline or highlight this one sentence right here. The I am of each individual is the will in its highest aspect. Okay? The I am of each individual. I have to stress each individual. Therefore, each individual has his or her higher self, and you get to call that whatever you want because it's a personal relationship. Okay? If you look at the word individual, okay? Look at the word itself. When you look at words, you got to break it down. Individual. At the end of the word, it has all. And then you have divide, right? Meaning that you got divided from the all, but the all is within. It's individual. Divided from the all, but the all is within you. That's why when you are born, you're connected to your mom, you're still connected to the all, but they had to cut the umbilical cord to separate you from the all. Now you become an individual. All righty. I hope this is not too much for y'all today. All right. But I'm going to drop it on y'all. Okay. I'm going to drop it on y'all. If you're ready for the truth, I'm going to drop it on you. I think y'all ready. All right. Let's proceed. I am spiritual identity. The real or the Christ mind of each individual is the I am, the anointed one. Your higher self, the I am is you, is the anointed one. Okay? And again, of each individual, let's stress that out. The only time it's not individualized is when you transition and it goes back to the universal all, then it becomes part of the collective again. But anytime it's within your avatar, within the confines of your mind, okay, that's within your brain, within your head, then guess what? It is your individual God, or I am, okay? The I am being. God is I am. And man, his offspring, is also I am. Why? Because we were made in the likeness and image of that I am. So all we are, okay, we are I am in the flesh, okay, and I am is us in the spirit, in that heavenly realm, so to speak. And it's not out there, okay? It is all internal, all right? I am is the indwelling Lord of life, love, wisdom, and all the ideas eternally in thine mind. Okay, now it's okay to say in divine mind in this case. Why? Because it is all individual minds. All right, but when the collective comes together, it is not divine, it is vine. Well, Chief, what are you talking about? All right, what are you talking about, Chief? Well, if you have a grape tree, okay, grapes are on a vine. Okay, when you pick the grapes, what are you doing? You are divining the grapes. That means you are separating the grapes from the rest of the grapes. So whenever you say that you are divine, what are you doing? You are separating yourself from the collective. So be mindful again with the words that you speak. All right, let's proceed. The I am is the name of the spiritual self as distinguished from the human self. All right, remember, even in certain laws, human means beast. Okay, I'm just letting y'all know, because in essence, that's what it is. It's the lower self, it's the animalistic self. Okay, but the I am is supreme. Okay, one is governed by spirit. You see what I'm saying? We're not supposed to be governed by any external entity, such as governments or other men or women. We are supposed to be governed by the spirit, the I am. All right. The other by personal will, which is personal will is the physical man. And personal will is there to do the works of the father or the mother, which is the higher self, the God in you. Okay. Christ and Jehovah are the scriptural, again, they are the scriptural names for spiritual I am. But may I reiterate, you could call your I am whatever you want. That's the personal relationship. The allegorical Jesus called it Father. I say you could call it Mother as well. I am is eternal, without beginning or end. Why? Because intelligence always existed. Okay? It was never created. It cannot be destroyed. And no, it's not energy. All right? It transforms through energy, but it is not energy. Okay? So when people say, "Oh, well, you know, we energy, we came from energy." No. We manifest through energy. We did not come from energy. We came from intelligence. All right? So we don't have any beginning or we don't have any end, because the physical body is not you. All right? The true spiritual man whom God made in his, her likeness and image, that's immortal. Okay? That's immortal. All right, guys? Keep that in mind. Okay? The I am has its being in heaven. Its home is in the realm of God ideals. Okay, I'm gonna repeat that. The I am has its being in heaven. Its home is the realm of God ideals. And remember where the kingdom of heaven is. It's within. It is the center around which all the thoughts of man revolve. The narrow concept of the personal I am should be led out into consciousness of the great and only I am. Man identifies himself with that to which he attaches his I am. Okay? And whatever he identifies himself with, that he manifests. Okay? So whenever you take the concept of a foreign I am, a foreign God, and you attach yourself to it, that's what you are manifesting. Okay? Now, if that I am wasn't meant to work for you or to benefit you, it's not going to work for you. You got to get in touch with your personal I am to work on your behalf. Okay? Now, hitch your I am to the star of Christ, which is the anointed one, and infinite joy will follow as night the day. But first, you have to know what Christ is. You see what I'm saying? You have to know these things. I am identity. As the will of God, man represents I am identity. Okay? As the will of God, man represents I am identity. So we identify, okay, who the I am is in the flesh. All right? We identify the I am in the flesh. That's why the allegorical Jesus said in John and Psalms, ye are gods. Because that's what we exemplify. If you were made in the likeness and image, it's like whenever, have you ever heard your parents say, listen, go ahead and dress better. When you go out there, you're representing me. Where do you think all that came from? Because we represent the mother and father, all right, which is the I am. Okay? Now, individual consciousness is like an eddy in the ocean. All the elements that are found in the ocean are also found in eddy. And every eddy may, in due course, receive and give forth all that is in the ocean. This individual consciousness, freedom to act without dictation of any kind, selfhood without consciousness, of course, the power to make or break without limitation. And I've always given you guys this analogy about the ocean. Let's just say the ocean is the great I am. And you have about 7 billion individual cups of ocean water. Okay? You have the same power the ocean has because that's the water that's in that cup. Now, the cup is not you. The cup is not the ocean water. So let's just say the cup falls and it breaks and the water falls. The water will eventually find its way back into the ocean. Even if it evaporates, then due to condensation, it will be back in the ocean. So it's the same thing. All right? I hope that makes sense. Okay? This is individual consciousness, freedom, okay, because you are an individual now. You took essence, okay, from the all, and now it's in an individual avatar. Freedom to act without dictation of any kind. In other words, you have the freedom of dictation without any kind, able to speak, articulate, all right? Freedom of choice, freedom of voice, freedom of choice, right? Selfhood, which is identify without consciousness of thought, and the power to make or break without limitation, okay? All that stuff is in there, family. I am used adversely. Man seeking happiness through sense pleasure. This is sin, missing the mark. That's what sin is. Sin is missing the mark. And the wages are pain, sickness, poverty, and death. All right? It is not going to this, burning hell forever and all. No, that's not what sin is. Okay? Man seeking happiness through sense pleasure. In other words, if you're only seeking happiness through your physical self, your animalistic self, that means you are missing the mark, and that's what sin is. All right? All right, family, I'm here talking about a different subject, and you're over here talking about vax, fam. Like, all right, I think you're on the wrong message right now, family. Like, let us not deal with the distractions, all right? We are talking about something here in particular, and the distractions, man. I want to appreciate that, man. All right, let's just stay focused on this. If this is not for you, then feel free to make an exit with all due respect. You feel me? I've already talked about vaccines. This is not what this is about. All right, I'm here talking about people so I could give them spiritual life, let them know who they truly are. That's a whole different conversation, fam. All right, so here we are. I am used adversely. Man seeking happiness through sense pleasure. This is sin, missing the mark. Okay, so telling somebody an untruth is not a sin. Okay, you're just not telling the truth. All right. So here we are. And the wages are pain, and not necessarily physical pain. It's something that's within. Okay. Sickness, poverty, and death. Think I am in harmony with God mind. You see what you see, God hyphen mind, and health, wealth, and harmony will be yours. So you got to think I am in harmony with God mind. Because you have to what? You have to be one with your higher self. And then health, wealth, and harmony then will manifest in your life. Okay? I am the light of the world. John 8:12 refers to Christ as the expresser of truth in all aspects. That's all it means. Ibhar, whom he chooses, he desires, he approves, God, delights. He selects, he elects. One of David's son. And you'll find that in Psalms 2, 5 and 15. Now, so let me see. I think we're done with I am. Okay. So guys, so I hope that makes sense. Again, I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. All right. I'm just here to give you the breakdown. Okay. And what all this means. When you are reading the Bible, okay, then you know how to read the Bible. Okay. Stop externalizing the I am. The I am, it wasn't meant to be externalized. Okay, the I am is within you. You are the higher self. The higher self is the I am. And basically, that's what I'm saying here. All right. Now, the next entity I want to talk about is, give me a second. We're going to talk about Jesus. This one is a little bit lengthy, but hopefully we'll be able to go through it, and I don't have to do a part 2 with just those two entities. Okay. CHIJ. Give me a second here. We almost there, guys. And just so you guys know, I did put that I did put the dictionary. I put it in there. All right, so that you're able to use it. Okay. Let me see. Give me a second. Give me a second. We're almost there. I'm in the J's now. Okay. And trust me, everything in the book, it doesn't matter what book it is, all that stuff deals with the internal. Everything is internal. All right. It was just made external so that people will have an understanding of what it means, but they're not teaching people the truth about what it means. All right. So I'm playing my part. F M G H I J. Give me a second, man. Well. I was reading from the actual book itself, I would have already found that, but I have to scroll down and all that stuff, right? So I hope you guys are having a beautiful day, man. All right. And again, please don't take, take what I say with a grain of salt. All I'm just saying is just do your own research, seek for yourself, and you will find, that, it's really about putting the truth out there and, allowing people to free themselves and not be captives or slaves to any ideology. Okay. You have to know who you are. You have to know how great you are. And the only way to know that, you have to know what dwells in you. Okay. It's not something out there in the sky, looking down, judging people and all that. No, that's not true. That's what we were taught. All right. And then you have to go beg something in the sky for what you want. No, that's not true. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Okay. I'm in JE now. H. I'm still scrolling down. All right, let me share my screen so you guys could see what I'm actually doing. So you guys know I'm actually scrolling. It's a lot of scroll. It's a lot of scrolling, all right? But we got this, though. We got this, okay? We got this. 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 We on Jeremiah right now. I mean, all the names, family, all the names that's in the Bible, they all have metaphysical meanings, all right? And they all refer to something that's in you, even Jerusalem, all right? All that stuff. So just keep that in mind, okay? And we'll go over a few of them, not today, but you know what I'm saying? We will. We will. All right. Okay, we almost there. We almost there. All right, Jesse. All right, cool. We almost there. All right, cool. Here we are. I think we here now. I think we got this. We got this. We got this. All right, no, that's Josh. Right, metaphysical, the physical thought, da 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 da. Jesse. All righty, here we are. Okay, I think we could start it from there. All right, there we go. Jesus. Okay, so we are going to break down the metaphysical meaning of Jesus and what Jesus signifies. Okay, let me drink a little bit of water. Okay, Jesus, Jesus, whichever way you want to pronounce it, whose help Jehovah is. All right, deliverance, safety, salvation, savior, deliverer, helper, prosperer, deliverance through Jehovah, meaning that through the higher self. Okay, remember, Jehovah is just a name given to the higher self. All right, so that's what it is. Again, this is about an understanding of who you are, okay, and your power that you have. This is not about who wrote the Bible. I don't care who wrote the Bible. All right, once again, stay on point. I don't need the distractions, family. All right, stay on point. This is about on having a true understanding of what God is when they speak of God in any book, any religious book, and when they speak of Jesus or whatever they talk to. This is a breakdown of what it truly represents. Okay, the power that you have within you. That's what this is about. Okay, now, Jesus of Nazareth, son of Mary, and according to the present day Christian belief. Again, you hear that? According to the modern day Christian belief. So that's only a Christian concept. The savior of mankind. All right, that is their concept. Thou shalt call his name Jesus, for it is that shall save his people from their sins. And once again, sin is to miss the mark. Metaphysical. Now, let's go into exactly what Jesus is. All right. Metaphysical. The I am, the I in man, the self, the directive power raised to divine understanding and power the I am identity. Okay? In other words, Jesus is the representation, the I am identity in the flesh, just like you. Okay? You are the I am representation in the flesh. You are the identity in the flesh. Okay? That's what you are. You are the representation of your higher self in the flesh. Okay? Keep that in mind. So that's who Jesus is to his I am. Okay? Jesus represents God's idea of man in expression. So just like you represent God's idea, the I am idea in man's expression, in physical expression. Christ is that idea in the absolute. All right? Christ is that idea in the absolute. Jesus Christ was the type man which includes all the mental phases through which man passes in demonstrating life's problems. I'm going to repeat that again, like I told y'all before. Okay? Jesus, the physical man, represents each and every one of us. Okay? Each and every one of us in the physical flesh. We exemplify Jesus. Okay? And what we are doing is, okay, it's a mental phase through which man or woman passes in demonstrating life's problems. That's what exemplifies Jesus. That's what Jesus means. So Jesus wasn't a physical man. Okay, it was an idea. It was a concept that was created, but it was given a personage. It was given a personality. It was given an image, and it became a man. But it was just teachings to tell us about ourselves. Okay, and once again, all the great theologians, they know this, but most of them are under contract and they cannot break it down to the people like that. Why? Because the moment that you learn that you are God, the moment that you learn that you are it and you're not supposed to be ruled, then people will not be sheep anymore. You see what I'm saying? But they're doing the opposite of what Jesus said. Jesus gave people the power. If you really read it and you truly understand what you're reading. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, so we find Jesus Christ passing through all trials, temptations, and mental variations of each of us, yet without sin. In other words, without missing the mark. In other words, not allowing the flesh to take control. That is, not falling under the dominion of what? Evil thoughts. Okay? That's what it is. So they are showing you a perfect example of what it means to go through life without falling under the dominion of evil thoughts. Everything is internal. Everything is internal. Even when Jesus was tempted by the so-called serpent, that was internal. That was his mind. That was another faculty in his mind. Okay? The experiences of each individual are in miniature the experience of all. Okay? That's why we are all connected. We are all connected within that heavenly so-called realm. And I'm not talking about out there in the sky. It is all internal. It is just something that exists. You cannot see it. You cannot feel it. It just exists. You cannot touch it. It just is. That's the I am. However, the experiences of each individual, okay, are in miniature, meaning that in bits and pieces, okay, the experience of the all. So whatever we experience, okay, it is experiences of each and every one of us. We are all reflections of each other. But because we are not connected like that, somebody may not feel the pain that you're going through unless they are emotionally connected to you. But trust me, we all feel each other pain, but we're just not aware of it because we are all connected. Okay? We may put on the new man, that is, bring forth the Christ in ourselves. Because Jesus by himself is not the Christ. Okay? So we may put on the new man, that is, bring forth Jesus Christ in ourselves. First, we must put away what? The old man of error and limitation through denial of his reality. All right? So for you to bring forth what they teach, for you to bring forth what the true Christ is, you have to put away the errors, the limitations through denial of his reality. Okay? The second step is to accept the truth of our being in faith, then through understanding to begin diligently to live truth in thought, word, and deed. The Christ is the man that God created, the perfect ideal man. So Jesus wasn't the perfect man. You see what I'm saying? Jesus was, was able to get tempted. And if we want to keep it real, Mary Magdalene was his wife. You see what I'm saying? But they will not tell you that. The point I'm making is the Christ is the perfect ideal concept of what God created to be the perfect man. That's why Jesus had to go through all what he had to go through, then be crucified and, rose when he became the Christ, meaning that he had to baptize and become the Christ. He became the perfect son. Okay? And is real self of all men. Jesus Christ is this Christ self brought forth into perfection, expression, and manifestation. Okay? It's an ideal. Jesus, the name of Nazareth, the man of Nazareth, demonstrate. And once again, Nazareth wasn't a place. Nazareth was the family, okay? The clan that he came from, because that's how they spoke back in the day. If your name was John Doe, you would be John of Doe, okay? So we have to put these things in perspective. So Jesus, the man of Nazareth, demonstrated that this attainment is possible to man, and as consequence, he is the type man. All right? So once you truly understand what the allegorical Jesus was teaching, the consequence of that is you will become the type of man. Okay? We are exhorted to have this mind in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, which implies that all may demonstrate as he did. In other words, I'm going to keep repeating myself, and that may seem redundant. Okay? The ideal or the concept of Jesus or Yeshua or Zeus or whatever, the concept was, again, to teach you how to be the perfect man or woman, not to worship that entity. Okay? And that's facts. To make this attainment requires careful training of thoughts. Again, you have to master your thoughts in order to ascend into the Christ. If you cannot master your thoughts, then your thoughts will master you. Okay? Keep that in mind. The mind that was in Christ Jesus was the mind of God, the I am. So we know that we must be perfect, even as what? The Father in heaven or the Mother in heaven is perfect. So you'd see, that's why you had, monks and Buddhists. They would go into solitude, or they would go into places for days and weeks and months, get away from all the temptation and step into their Christ. You see what I'm saying? Get away from all the places that would give them those evil thoughts. You see what I'm saying? So they could attain, they could attain that connection to the higher self, to become the expression of that higher self. Okay? Now, check this out. This seems an almost superhuman attainment, and so it is. Why? Because, all right, again, and I'm going to prove to you again, and I like to prove everything that I say. That's why Jesus said what? Jesus said, my Father and I are one, but yet still my Father is greater than I am. That may seem like a contradiction, but it's not when you truly know what it means. You see what I'm saying? So Jesus was telling you that his father was greater than him. In other words, he wasn't the superhuman that you made him to be, or what you were taught that he is. He had flaws. He made mistakes. They wouldn't put it in there, but he made it. He had a wife, but they wouldn't tell you that. They wouldn't put it in there. Okay? So, the human has to put away the divine and the divine establishment in its place. The human is transient and fallible, just like Jesus. The divine is permanent and infallible. I'm going to read that again. Okay? The human, the flesh, the conscious mind is transient and fallible. Okay? Plausible of making mistakes. The divine, which is divine self, the supernatural self, is permanent. In other words, it cannot be destroyed, it cannot be killed, and it's infallible, without blemishes, without mistakes. And that's what dwells within you. That's your personal I am. You see, that's why death don't exist, because you only see yourself as the flesh. That's why you are able to die. But when you truly know you are not the flesh is just the host, then you will have no fear, because the I am in you is eternal. It is permanent. Okay? Let's proceed. In the individual consciousness, the meaning of Jesus being born in Bethlehem of Judea is that the principle of truth have laid hold of the intelligent substance of the spirit, which is what? Bethlehem. Jesus wasn't born in Bethlehem, a literal place. Okay? Man created those places to trick people so they don't know what they have within them. Okay? Keep that in mind. I'm going to repeat that again. Okay? Let's repeat that again. The individual consciousness, the meaning of Jesus, again, the allegorical Jesus, being born in Bethlehem of Judea, is that the principle of truth have laid hold of their intelligent substance of spirit. Remember, we came from intelligence, right? Which is Bethlehem. And through praise, which is Judea. Anytime you praise, okay, that's when you are in Judea. Have brought the Christ into what? Manifestation. Okay? But you could do that through meditation. You could do that through, glorification. I wouldn't use praise per se, because I don't like people to pray for me or pray on me. You dig what I'm saying? But glorify, exaltation. You see what I'm saying? That's what that is. So you could bring forth the Christ, okay, that's in you. It is wise to protect the newborn spirit consciousness from contact with Herod. A lot of y'all think Herod was actually they created that, okay, to make it external, but all that stuff is internal. So I'm going to repeat that again. It is wise to protect the newborn spiritual consciousness from contact with Herod, the personal ego. That's all Herod is, because the ego will kill that newborn. Okay? The ego will kill the newborn, which is Herod. Herod seeks the young child to destroy him, but under the guidance of spirit, no harm comes to the child. You could protect that child, meaning that Christ that's ready to grow and evolve into the Christ, the ego, all right? That physical man, the temptations, all right? That's the ego. And it's called Herod, always wanting to destroy that child, okay? He is taken down into Egypt. And again, Egypt was never a literal place until they made it a literal place. Now, let me tell you exactly what Egypt is. He is taken down into Egypt, down into the protected places of subconsciousness. That's what Egypt is. Egypt is a protected place or places of the subconsciousness to remain until the personal ego destroys itself. Then the Christ child is free to come forth and express itself. Now, Chief, how can you prove that? Well, remember when Jesus was 12 years old, he had to leave and he had to go down into Egypt. All right? But of course, all that stuff was internal. They made it external. In other words, so he is taken down into Egypt, which is down into the protected places of the subconsciousness to remain until the personal ego. In other words, he had to go to school. He had to learn how to be a magi. He had to learn how he had to be developed into a Christ. In other words, he had to take counsel from the elders, and they had to teach him how to destroy the ego before the ego destroyed him. Then, and only then, he will be able to attain Christhood. All right? And be free to come forth and to express what Christ is. Now, we are breaking down different metaphysical meanings of when Jesus is used in the Bible and different places what it means. Okay? Now, Jesus in the temple at the age of 12 years represents the growing consciousness within us that we are sons of the I am, which is in Luke chapter 2, verse 40 to 52. Okay? It wasn't a literal temple. Those are just teachings to show you what needs to happen within you for you to become the Christ, the true son or daughter of the living intelligence, what we call God. Okay? So Jesus in the temple at the age of 12 years represents the growing consciousness, a young child growing, okay, within us, that we are sons of and daughters of the great I am. Okay? Jesus going about all the cities and villages, teaching, preaching, and healing represents what? The I am in its universal capacity as a teacher and a harmonizer of its own mental and bodily conditions, which is in Matthew. I'm going to read that again. Okay? I'm going to read that again. Jesus going about all the cities and villages, teaching, preaching, and healing, and represents the I am in its universal capacity as a teacher. So that's what Jesus was doing. That's what I'm doing. And harmonizer of its own mental, and bodily conditions. In other words, you have to be in harmony with your own mind, okay? You have to be in harmony with your own mind, your own God. And then the bodily functions will follow, okay? The 12 sent forth by Jesus in Matthew 10:5 typify the what? The 12 faculties of mind in every man. Each and every one of us, we have 12 faculties in us. These people were not real people. They became real because they were promoted as being real. But those faculties are within us. Okay, so I'm going to read that again. The 12 sent forth by Jesus, because you as the individual, you have to be able to take control of your disciples. You have to teach them and allow them to follow you to be fishers of men. But there are 12 faculties that's within you, and you could activate them. Okay? So the 12 sent by Jesus in Matthew 10:5 typify the 12 faculties of the mind in every man. Functioning under what? The direction of the I am. You have to give them directives. You have to give them direction as to what you want your disciples to do for you. Okay? The I, Jesus, and his disciples, the faculties, okay, are always bidden to these unions of planes of consciousness, marriages. See John 2. It's always in your mind. It's within your consciousness. Okay, be it the subconscious or the conscious mind. Jesus in Luke 7:36 and through 38 represent what? Divine mind in its search for the motive rather than the outer act. In other words, in Luke, all right, Jesus represents what? The universal mind in search for the motive rather than what? The outer act. In other words, going within, looking within self to find that universal mind, to find what we call God rather than the outside act, okay? Or the outer act, rather. The temptation of Jesus in Matthew 4:1 took place within what? Within himself, family. The temptation was within self. It's like you walking down the block, okay, and you see an old lady or an old man, and their purse or their wallet fall, and you see the money fall, and then all of a sudden, the temptation come. Instead of doing the right thing and taking it and giving it back to them, here comes that mind. Oh, nah, man, you know what? I gotta pay that cell phone bill, son. I gotta buy that new sneakers. I gotta buy a cell phone. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And you take the money. That is the temptation. You see what I'm saying? So that's you. The temptation was within self. The temptation wasn't outside of Jesus. It was within his own mind. Because remember, okay, we live in a duality. And where there is left, there is right. Where there's up, there's down. So whatever good thoughts that you have in you, bad thoughts will manifest as well. But it was within self, okay? The place of overcoming is within the conscious mind, within the consciousness of man. So you have to overcome that within yourself, not within a church building, not going to the pastor and asking the pastor to pray for you. No, it has to be within self. That's where you have to overcome that, not going down on your knees and looking up. No, that's what you were taught. You have to find a moment of stillness, go within and overcome them temptations. Why you think when somebody get mad and angry, when they start talking, telling themselves, all right, calm down, all right, cool down, chief. Now, cool, what? Because guess what? You are overcoming that within your own consciousness, okay? When we follow Jesus, we rise above the demands of the flesh and sense world, okay? The 40 days fast is an all-round denial of sense demands. I'm going to repeat that again. The 40-day fast is an all-round denial of sense demands. And I'm going to break that down for you, but I'm going to repeat one more time. Okay? The 40 days fast is an all-around denial of sense. Okay? It wasn't 40 days Jesus go without eating food. Go do that and see if you wouldn't die physically. Okay? No. It was a denial of sense demands. In other words, what the flesh wanted, he was fasting. Okay? Fasting. In other words, not allowing the higher self to succumb to those temptations. So he was fasting, depriving the self-sense of what it was demanding, the temptations that was coming, okay? In fasting, we in our thoughts live above the material needs. That's what fasting is. Fasting is not, oh, well, I'm going to fast. I'm going to not eat for 12 weeks and you start getting headaches and you start looking like a crackhead. That's not fasting, man. That's not fasting. Fasting is internal with your thoughts, okay? Not allowing that, that physical need, the temptations, the materialistic world to infiltrate. That's what true fasting is. Okay, we are led up, and our appetites and passions are for a season in such an eclipse that we think that we will trouble no more. But he afterward hungered. There is a return to sense consciousness, because eventually you're going to get hungry. All right. and you may fall to some temptation. That's just what it is. Because remember, the physical man is fallible. All right? Always remember that. It's not how hard you fall, but how fast you could get up. All right? Keep that in mind. Now, the devil is personality. That's why I told y'all, they will not teach it to you the way I'm teaching you the truth. The devil is not a man with a pitchfork, family, okay, with a red outfit in competition with this so-called God. No, that's not who the devil is, family. All right? The devil is personality, the adverse consciousness that has been built up in what? Ignorance and disregard of what? Divine law. That's who the devil is. All devil or Satan means is what? An adversary. All right? The devil is what? Your personality, the adverse consciousness, okay, that has what? Been built up in ignorance. What is ignorance? The lack of knowledge, the lack of knowing. And what? The deliberate disregard of what? Divine law. In other words, what's one of the divine laws? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you cannot abide by that universal law, then you are the devil. You are an adversary of the children of the Great Spirit. No matter who you are. Because everybody came from the all. Nothing came from outside the all. It doesn't matter what mechanisms had to be used so that your avatar could be created in this realm. Everybody came from the all. There's no denying that. You see what I'm saying? So that's some of the divine laws. And anybody who violates that is the devil. You did. I appreciate that, Pamela Williams. I appreciate that. Thank you for touching and giving a little gift here. I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, it's really not necessary, but I thank you. All right, I'm doing this out of the love. You feel me? I appreciate that. Just so y'all know, I take Bitcoins, and Ethereum. Now I'm just playing, guys. I'm just joking, but I'm doing this out of the love, man. You know what? I just want people to know their true power, and when they go to these churches, they don't get deceived. All right, with what's being taught. Okay, that's just my reason for doing that. All right, now the temptation to turn stones into bread illustrates the thought of what? Ignorance that deceives people with the belief that they can satisfy the soul with materialistic things or materiality without looking for the bread that comes from heaven, the word of the living Great Spirit. We must feed our soul with new truths daily that we may grow in spiritual ways. All right, family? You have to renew your mind. Okay? I put a copy of that in the chat. All right? So I'll also go on Facebook and put a copy of that in the Facebook chat as well. But I definitely put it I put it on YouTube. I mean, it's there on YouTube. Okay. So the temptation to turn stones into bread illustrates, you see, the allegorical Jesus didn't literally turn stone into bread. Like, I don't know why grown people are believing these things. To me, it goes to the point of not just ignorance, but a little child would look at you and say, you stupid. And I'm not calling anybody stupid. I'm just saying a little child would say that. Because no child would believe that anybody could turn stone into bread. But grown people are believing that stuff. No disrespect. So the temptation to turn stones into bread illustrates what? Thought of ignorance. That's what's happening, okay? That deceives people with the belief that they can satisfy the soul with materialistic things, okay? Without what? Looking for the bread. That in other words, that internal happiness, that joy that comes from what? From within heaven. Because where's the kingdom of heaven at? It's within. The word of the I am is within. We must what? Feed our soul with new truths daily. If you don't feed your soul with truths daily, guess what? You're dying on the inside, family. And for you to change, for you to grow, you have to what? You have to renew your mind that we may grow in spiritual ways. All right. The second temptation of Jesus means that no display of spiritual power for personal glory should be made. I'm going to repeat that. The second temptation of Jesus means that no display of what? Spiritual power for personal glory should be made. That's what a lot of these religious people are doing that's leading these people. Okay? They're not even doing what Jesus stood for. We cannot make a display of our spiritual power with safety. To worship the devil is to worship what? Personality. That's what the devil is. Okay? That's what the devil is. The adversary, because your personality is the adversary. To worship the devil is to worship personality. You live in personal consciousness and give it substance of life and thought. You see, it didn't say that you are the personal consciousness. No, it says you give life and substance to that in thought. You feel me? When the temptation arises in our consciousness, like it did in the allegorical Jesus, to use our God-attained spiritual faculties and powers for the building of what? Our personal ambitions, we should know that under divine law, there is but one worthy of our worship and service, and that is the higher self. And don't get it misconstrued here, okay? When we are talking about the God, we are talking about the universal all. Let's put that in perspective. All right? To serve God, it means that to serve the collective, we must build up spirituality in mind, body, and affairs. That's why we have to serve each other and build each other. When you are doing that, you are serving God. That's why the government, okay, and their minions, they are playing God, and they say what? Okay, we are public what? We are public servants. You feel me? So if they're public servants, that means that we are their gods. So why are we serving them? But anyway, that's a whole nother story. In Luke 4:16 through 30, Jesus represents the spirit of truth, declaring its mission and power in the place of its development. The common, everyday mind, the common man. The high spiritual truth may be flashed into your mind while you are performing the commonest duties of life. Nazareth is a type of inferiority. It was considered a community of commonplace, if not disreputable people. Can any good thing come out of Nazareth? In other words, come from that community, come from that family. But Jesus came to exemplify, to show you, regardless of where I came from, okay? I came from the common man. I came from a common place. I came from poverty. I came from that. And guess what? I was able to transform into the greatest man, the Christ. And guess what? We all have the potential to do that. Yet, in that mediocre village, Jesus was what? Reared. And in anyone's mediocre mind, the Christ truth is expressed. We know many of the trite statements of truth, so will that we find it hard to conceive that we are the mighty power that can relieve us from the bonds of sense. That power is in you, all right? It is not this Joseph's son, but in no other place shall we find the truth that sets free. The power that brings salvation from every ill is within what? Us, family. So that's why I tell you, you don't need their doctors, okay? You don't need their medications. You don't need none of that, because guess what? Each and every one have the power in us to relieve any type of illness within us. We have that power. The problem is we outside of ourselves looking for people, looking for things to remedy us when we have that. Also, we have nature, right? I'm going to tell y'all a true story. And I've told it before. I remember, I don't know what happened to my knee, man, but my knee, my right knee was giving me so many problems. Like I couldn't run, I couldn't walk. It was a problem to go up the stairs. And you know what? One day I just told myself, nah, that is not natural. That's not normal. Okay. I'm going to meditate and I'm going to manifest that my knee is whole and my knee is just going to be fine. Family, let me tell you something. I meditated, okay, and just claimed that my knee was whole for like about, I would say about 30 something days. And unconsciously, I started running, not realizing that that pain wasn't there anymore. I'm telling you, we are powerful beings, man. But you have to know that you have the power to get rid of any illness that you have within you. Now, it is in the gracious words of the indwelling Christ. It's within you, family. It's within you. Today have this scripture been fulfilled in your ears. Every day our inner ears are filled full of this truth. That's why the allegorical Jesus said what? Those who have eyes and ears, let them see and hear. They're talking about the inner version of you, not the outer, okay? We know the right, we know the just, we know the pure. This is scripture that is written what? In the heart. Family, the scripture is not written in the book. The book was just there to guide you to what's within you, family. That's where the true scripture is. That's why God said in the Bible, I wrote my laws in the hearts and the minds of men and women. It is not in the book. That's why I tell people, I don't care who wrote the book. It doesn't matter to me who wrote the book. The question is, did you get the message? And a lot of people, they haven't gotten the message because they're waiting for somebody to explain to them what it means in the book, and they're being misled for some offerings. No, I'm not saying all pastors and ministers are doing that. I don't want to stereotype, but too many of them are. Too many of them are. And that's why I'm out here teaching the truth. I'm doing what Jesus did. It's in your heart. I'm going to read that again right here. Okay? Every day, our inner ears are filled full of this truth. So family, once you go within, be still and listen to your higher self. It will never guide you wrong. Okay? We know the right. Yes, you do. Because every time you do something you're not supposed to do, nobody should tell you. You know it within yourself. We know the just. We know the pure. This is the scripture, family, that is written on your heart. Not in your heart, but on your heart. Okay? Do you ask for a sign of power? Do you want miraculous healing within fulfilling the law, right thinking, and right doing? Then you are not receiving the Christ Spirit rightly. I'm going to read that again. Okay? Do you ask for the sign of power? Do you want miraculous healing without fulfilling the laws of right thinking and wrongdoing? Then you are not receiving the Christ Spirit rightly. Why do you think in all religions, in all these churches, right? People are struggling, people are hurting, people are sick. Why? Because they're not receiving the Christ Spirit rightly, because they don't know what it is. They're not being taught what it is. They're not being taught the truth. Okay? That's what's happening. If you look in our neighborhoods, we have the most churches, but why are we struggling the most? It is because they don't have the concept of what Christ is. All right? They're not receiving, all right, the spirit of what Christ is in the right context. All right? You are seeking the temporal instead of the eternal because they're looking at a physical being. And if you if you let this superficial phase of mind rule, you will reject the Christ spirit and cast it out of your midst. Because guess what? A lot of them are looking for Jesus, the Christ, but the Christ have already left their midst. Why? Because they're looking for something physical. You see what I'm saying? So Christ will not be in their midst. So when a lot of them are in their churches and jumping and screaming every Sunday and Saturday, Christ is not there because they're looking for Christ in a physical place. Like I told y'all, man, I don't know if y'all ready for this truth, but I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it because I'm here to wake the dead, the spiritual dead that is. All right? Let us proceed. Mark 9, 2-13 tells us of the transfiguration. Jesus went up into a mountain to pray and was there transfigured. Prayer always brings about an external or rapid radiation of what? Mental energy. And when it is accompanied by faith, which is Peter, because I'm going to teach y'all about the 12 disciples as well. All right. Peter is faith, and John is love, and judgment is James. There is a lifting of what? The soul that electrifies the body. The remnant or the remnant, which is the aura surrounding the body, okay, shines with what? Glistening whiteness. That's why when Moses went up on the mount, okay, the mount, see here again, mountain, and then he was praying or meditating, whatever you want to call it. And then he got the message. When he came down, his face was all lit. That was the aura. In other words, his pineal gland electrified, and it electrified his body because he activated his pineal gland. Family, all that stuff is right there in the Bible, family. You are just not being taught what it means. Because the goal is to kill the Christ in you. The goal is to make you worship something outside of you and not exalt the Jesus Christ that's within you, or the Yeshua that's within you. Whatever you want to call it is up to you. But I'm going to read that again. Mark 9, 2-13 tells us of the transfiguration. Jesus went up into the mount to pray. In other words, it wasn't a literal mount. It was going up into meditation, activating, okay, going up into the crown chakra, going up into the realms of the mind, the chambers of thought, all right, and was there transfigured. Prayer or meditation always what brings an exalted or rapid radiation of mental energy. Anytime you start meditating, or don't you realize when people get into the so-called Holy Ghost and there's a mental burst of energy, they start speaking in tongues. And when it is accompanied by what? Faith, which is Peter, one of your disciples, and John, which is love, and judgment, which is James. So that means that while you are meditating, you have to activate Peter, you have to activate John, you have to activate James for you to truly experience this electrifying, this lifting of the soul that electrifies what? The physical body, which is the aura that shines with glistening whiteness around you. All right? The presence of Moses and Elijah represents the two processes through which this picture of the purified man is to be what? Objectified or demonstrated in real life. The first is Mosaic or evolutionary process of nature, through which there is a steady upward trend of all things. Because in life, in nature, it's all about evolution. All right? The evolutionary stage or the Mosaic phase, so to speak. All right? This evolutionary process is part of what? A spiritual plan for the redemption of what? The human race from the fallen state. Okay? That's where we are at right now. We have fallen. We are fallen gods. And you have to redeem yourself because there's a plan for that. But there is a blueprint for that. And it's not going into a building looking for Christ. It is not going on your knees looking up in the sky looking for heaven. No, it starts with self. It's within you. It's on your heart. Okay? In order to rise from that fallen state. In other words, for you to grow back your wings so you are able to fly. Why do you think they call what's underneath our arm? Why do you think when you work out they call it wings? Do you think they call it wings by accident? No, we got wings. We just fell so we can fly. Go look at the movie X-Men if y'all don't believe me. All right? The other is the ability of the prophet Elijah, or spiritual discerner of truth, to make conditions change rapidly on the mental plane. All right? So once you are able to activate Elijah, okay, you're able to make rapid change in the mental plane to be in due season worked out in what? Substance. In other words, in due season, when the time is right. You plant the seed, you activate Elijah. When the time is right, in its season, it will become manifest. You dig. Now, thus, we told the lesson that Elijah must what? First come and restore all things. The mind must first be set right through spiritual understanding, then comes the demonstration. Okay? That could never happen. You could never elevate from your lower self unless you put things in order, unless you renew your mind. That has to come first. Through, not just come first, but what? Through spiritual understanding and overstanding, then and only then, okay, these things will manifest and it will be demonstrated. Okay? Now, Peter proposing to erect 3 tabernacles carries out this idea of a substance manifestation for each. But Peter's ideas were vague as to propose, hence the accompanying voice out of the cloud. This is my beloved son, hear ye him. To tell no man what things they had seen, serve when the Son of Man should have risen again from the dead. Means what? That we shall not consider these mental pictures as real, and so discuss them. Family, that's why everything that they put out there for you is an illusion. It's not real. Okay? It means that we shall what? Not consider these mental pictures as real and then so discuss them, because guess what? Once you perceive it in your mind to be real and you speak it, it becomes your reality. That's why I tell you, okay, this economy is not my reality. It is not making a mental image in my mind. So therefore, it's not going to grow. Okay? This pandemic is not my reality. So I will not catch their diseases. Family, you got the power, but you speak it. You see what I'm saying? You discuss it. That means you are giving it life. It's energy, so it becomes your reality. All right? Now, they represent ideas that can be understood only when they are demonstrated in the risen man. These mental pictures refers to what? Visions, dreams, and all that we see in our higher moments of what? Illumination. Jesus rode on an ass, and I know my mom tell me don't say ass, but mom, ass is in the Bible, okay? No pun intended. But anyway, Jesus rode on an ass in Jerusalem in Matthew 21, 1-9. In Oriental countries, in Bible times, kings and rulers rode the ass. And this animal was accepted bearer of what? Royalty. In the man consciousness, the animal part is typified by the ass. And it's being ridden into Jerusalem by Jesus portrays what? The master by the I am of the animal nature of its manifestation, which is a cult. Jerusalem means habitation of peace and signifies spiritual consciousness. Man, I don't know if y'all ready for this, man. But I hope you are, because I'm still going to give you that source. All right? I'm going to give you that source. All right? Because you are supposed to be able to master that ass, that animalistic self. You're supposed to ride it. It's supposed to be your slave. You feel what I'm saying? And ride it into Jerusalem, which means what? Habitation of peace, signified spiritual consciousness. That's what Jerusalem is. All right. Jerusalem is not a place in the world. They made it that. Okay. It's symbolic for something that's within you. Remember, everything that's outside of us is already in us. Okay. They just gave it names. All right. Now, the Lord have need of them. These forces of the so-called lower nature, the lower self in man, are necessary to his full expression. In other words, you need your lower self, okay, in order to express the fullness, okay, of the totality of the I am, in the full, but only in expression, though, right? A man or woman with the animal nature asleep or suppressed is but partially alive. The vital fires are in this department of being and in this purifying furnace that the material man is melted and the pure gold is extracted. Let me rephrase that again. Well, I'm not going to rephrase that. I'm going to break that down. Okay. So now we know that the lower self is necessary. Why? Because when you look at the chakras, the lower chakra, right, is responsible for security, survival. Okay. And a man or a woman with the animal nature asleep and suppressed is but partially alive. So the goal is not to kill your lower self. No, that's not what it means. Okay, don't do that, because that means you're partially alive. The vital fires are in the department, is in the lower self of being. All right, and it is purifying furnace that what? That material man is melted, okay, and the pure gold is extracted. So keep that in mind. You need that fire burning within your lower self. But at the same time, you cannot allow it to be in control of the higher self. So you have to find the balance, okay? Those who live on the plane of mere animal generation do not ride the ass into Jerusalem. They are not masters of what? Their animal nature, family. You have to be a master. That's why Jesus said what? Slave, obey your earthly masters as you would your God in heaven. They trick y'all into thinking that it's okay to be a slave, not teaching you exactly what that means. Okay? What God are you serving that's telling you it's okay to be a slave? Come on, man. Something is emphatically wrong with grown people that believe these things. You feel me? It is the nature, the animalistic nature in you is supposed to be your slave, and it's supposed to obey, okay, it's God as it would in heaven, which is you. All right, so I'm going to read that again. Those who live on the plane of mere animal generation do not ride the ass into Jerusalem. They are not masters of their animal nature, but like the beasts of the field are mere slaves to what? Animal desire. Come on, man. In the regeneration, these animals' forces are turned inward. They become powers in a higher field of action. To fulfill this part of their mission, they must be wholly yearned from animal habits. So long as the animal rules, the man is a slave. Ooh, 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 ooh. As long as the animal rules, the man is enslaved. Why do you think we are slaves to this system? Because we're allowing the animal to rule. You did? I'm telling you, it's not that difficult to be free, man. You just got to know the truth. You just got to know the truth, all right? When the I am man takes charge of the body, a new order of things is what? Inaugurated. So that's why the government took control of your body with the birth certificate. You see, you see what he said now, but guess what? All right, I'm going to read that now. So as long as the animal rules, the man is enslaved. But guess what they're saying? All right. When the I am man takes charge, you got to take charge of your body. It's yours. It's your temple. You have to let them know, let it go. It's not yours anymore. It's mine. And I am aware of that. I am asking you to relinquish. In fact, I'm not asking you, I'm commanding you to relinquish the powers that you have over my body. It is not yours. It's mine. It belongs to my higher self. Then, and only then, a new order of things is inaugurated. The vitality is no longer wasted in mere sense of gratification. Through high and pure ideals, the whole consciousness is raised to what? Higher standards. Through interior thought, concentration, in other words, meditation, the subtle essences of the organism are transmuted to vibratory energies and become important factors in building up that pure body, which is triumph over death. That's how you get eternal life, family. Take control of the lower self. That's it. Now, let not the one who is indulging in the sense man in his animal ways think that he is on the royal road into Jerusalem. Anytime you are dealing in your higher frequencies, you're not on the higher road, family. You are not. Okay? Blissful is he that cometh in the name of the higher self. Remember back in the days when we greeted each other, it used to be, what's up, God? What's up, goddess? You see, we got to go back to that again. We got to start elevating each other again. You feel me? Why is it okay for you to call me the N word? Why is it okay for us to call our sisters the B word? No. Hey, what's up, goddess? Hey, what's up, God? Let's go back again to calling ourselves that. That alone in itself, the words that are being spoken will raise the vibration of our people. Okay? Now, the I am, aka Lord, is the higher ruling principle in man. So whenever you call somebody God, guess what you're doing? You are activating the higher principle in that being because you're giving them life. Okay? It is to be in supremacy, not the lower. So when you ask me, am I supreme? Yes, I am. Okay? Because I'm dwelling in my higher self. My higher self is supreme. So therefore, yes, I'm supreme. And yes, I practice supremacy. I don't know if y'all ready for that. Okay? There is much sophistry among a certain school of metaphysicians who love to live the life of an animal and call it God. And that's what these people are doing in governments and a lot of them in churches. Okay? The master metaphysician said that which is born of the flesh is the flesh, and that which is born of the spirit is the spirit. Another said, be not deceived. God is not to be mocked. For whatsoever a man what soweth, that shall he also what reap. Okay, so don't think you could play with the higher self. No, whatever you plant, trust me, you're going to reap. All right. For he that soweth unto his own flesh shall of the flesh reap what? Corruption. But he that soweth unto what? The spirit shall of spirit reap what? Eternal life, family. Eternal life. Okay. The characteristics of the ass, which is the donkey, are meekness, stubbornness, persistency, and the endurance to ride these to make them obedient to one's will. The outer thoughts or people recognize that some unusual movement of mind is what going on, and they fall into line. You see what I'm saying? Their cry, Hosanna, means save now. A change of base from personal willfulness to meekness, obedience stirs the whole consciousness or city, because your consciousness is also your city, your state of mind. All right. And there is what? Questioning about the cause. That's why when they tell you you live in a state, you live in a city, they're talking about your consciousness. I'm gonna take y'all on another journey. I'm breaking things down because I keep telling y'all Everything that's done, it was taken from a spiritual perspective, an internal perspective. A state is your state of mind. A city is your consciousness. Okay? And when you live in their cities and their states, you live in their consciousness. So you have to follow their rules. Ooh, Chief Kalanago, man, I don't know if the church could hear me today, but I'm going to keep giving it to y'all. Okay? Now, I'm reading here now. Simply saying in the silence, not my will, but thine will be done, often stirs up commotion, and then there is questioning as to the cause. Okay? Simply saying in silence. You don't have to say it out loud. Find a little quiet place and say what? It's not my will, but thine will, the will of the higher self be done. What's going to happen? It's going to start stirring up some type of commotion in you. In other words, it's going to make the body uneasy because the animal self is being challenged right now. You feel what I'm saying? And then there is what? Questioning as to the cause. Your mind start talking to you. The answer is what? This is the prophet. One who states the spiritual law. And that law is already put in your heart. Jesus the I am. From Nazareth, a place of what? Development of Galilee. Living activity, life activity is Galilee. Okay? So if you do not have any activities, which is life activity, you're not experiencing Galilee. Rendered in modern times, this would read, this is the supreme I am stating the law of spirit in development of what? Life action. Okay? Now, the betrayal of Jesus means to individual consciousness, the appropriation and use in sense ways of life and substance that the higher self imparts to us in our periods of exaltation. When we deny bondage of sense and affirm our spiritual freedom, we set free the organism and energy or vibratory force that goes through the nerve to every part of the body. Now, if you claim that you're a slave, that's what you will manifest. Okay? But guess what? When you want to exalt yourself, what it is, when you deny bondage, in other words, deny slavery, you have to say it every single day. You see what I'm saying? All right? Okay? Keep that in mind. I am not a slave. I am not in bondage. Okay? You have to keep telling yourself that repeatedly. Tell yourself that for 90 days. Okay? Those affirmations, say it for 90 days. I promise you, you will see changes. Okay? Because now you are now putting yourself into your own state of mind. You're creating your own city. Oh man, I don't know if y'all ready for this, but let's go again. When we deny the bondage of sense and affirm our spiritual freedom, okay, we set free the organism of what? Energy, vibratory force. It's the force that's within us that goes through the nerve to every part of the body, family. This is the eating of what? The Passover with our disciples. It wasn't a physical thing, okay? It is internal. So when you start denying the bondage, okay, and you keep repeating that, you are activating your disciples. And guess what? You guys are having a Passover. Can the church say hallelujah? Man, I keep telling y'all, any one of these ministers could come talk to me. Come talk to me, all right? Deny what I'm telling the people. Come on. I want y'all to deny it. But anyway, let's go. Let's go. It's all love. Now, but these disciples or faculties are not all in understanding of the divine law, and they do not use the spiritual force the right way. In other words, they are not working together. Why do you think Jesus had to get his disciples to follow him? All right, let's work together. First, he had to activate them. First, he had to teach them. Don't you realize he used to talk to his disciples first before they became fishers of men? So, but these disciples, the faculties that's in your mind, they are not all in understanding or understanding or overstanding of divine law. And when I'm saying the vine, not divine, okay? The vine, okay? And in its totality. And they do not what? Use the spiritual force in its right way. This is shown by the desire to have first place. And then see Luke 9, chapter 9, verse 46, implying what? Carnal ambition. Jesus demonstrated humility and a willingness to serve, which is always the sign of true disciple, by washing their feet. You dig? Humility. Never think you are too big or too huge to wash someone's feet. What does that mean? To help somebody that you feel that's lower than you, or society looks upon that's lower than you. Okay? Be of service to your fellow men and women. All right? Now, Judas represents Judas is also a faculty, all right? That's within you. Remember, all your 12 disciples are in your faculty. They're in your mind, okay? Judas represents the personal self of the body, whose center of consciousness is in what? The sex function. This consciousness is directly connected with appetite and feeling. So whenever you get these appetites, whether it's for food, whether it's for sex, whatever it is, and feelings, you're activating Judas, all right? This is indicated by the phrase, "He that dipped his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me." In the body consciousness, that which we eat is finally appropriated by this function and deposited in the seminal glands as a reserve supply for the whole nervous system. In this respect, its office is good, and when its work is well done, physical harmony ensures. So Judas is important. You see, Judas is one of the most loyal disciples, believe it or not. But Judas has to be obedient. Judas has to play its role in its full capacity. So when it worked well, physical harmony ensures. Okay? Judas develops what? Selfishness and sense desire. However, he steals the substance that should go to a building of the organism, and waste in sexual and other sensations. In this way, he is a thief and possess a devil, which is the adversary. When the new life from the spiritual fountain is poured into the body, Judas absorbs so much of it that it identified and power or lost in the consciousness, which is typified by the betrayal of the Christ. That's all it means, family. It didn't happen in real life. Okay, that's internal. In the end, Judas what? Destroys himself because he is ignorant of the constructive law. There is, however, a feeding of the faculties through descent of the divine life and substance, which is typified by the eating and drinking of the body and the blood of the master. Now, I know a lot of you, okay, do this literally. It wasn't meant to be literal. It is all a thought process, okay? It's all a thought process. Keep that in mind. When we know the ways of Judas, we are on our guard and we declare the law for him, and thus pave the way for his final redemption. Okay? Because Judas has to be redeemed. Judas cannot stay dead. You have to redeem Judas, and you have to show him the law. Okay? At the crucifixion of Jesus, it was the human consciousness of a perishable body that died. Okay? That's why he was able to ascend. Because why? The Christ wasn't crucified. It was Jesus, the physical man, the human consciousness. Okay? The one that see, the one that feel, the one that hear, the one that touch, the one that taste. That's what was crucified, not the Christ. The Christ was eternal and is eternal. Okay? That's why he was able to rise again and come into another avatar. Well, Chief, what you mean? Prove that to me. Well, go read the Bible. When Jesus came and when he rose, the people that he was with, his disciples, his mother, his woman, Mary Magdalene, guess what? They couldn't identify him. Why? Because he was in a different avatar. So to show them proof, he kept the hole in his hands. It's me. So let's read this again. At the crucifixion of Jesus, it was the human consciousness of a perishable body that died. Okay? Our old man was crucified with him, that the body of sin might be done away, that so we should no longer be in bondage to sin, missing the mark. When the thoughts of sin and death are crossed out, the spiritual truth about life and its manifestation in the body takes form in consciousness. Okay? So therefore, when you relieve yourself from bondage, okay, all the temptations, you let all that go. All right? It's only then and only then, okay, you cross out the ideas of death. It's only then the true spiritual man and woman will manifest in the body, but takes form in consciousness. The spirit of man that raised up Jesus shall give life also unto what? Mortal bodies. Family, there will come a time when those of us who fully know the truth, we will be walking around ageless. You know what I'm saying? Walking around, yo, how old you is, son? Man, I just turned 298,000 years old. Word? And you look like that? Well, guess what, God? I'm in my God state, fam. You know what I'm saying? Family, life is so beautiful. And I'm telling you, when you truly get this and you have a true understanding of that, there is no fear. There is no fear, family. There is no fear, because fear is false evidence, what appearing real. You see what I'm saying? And you hear that again. The spirit of him that raised Jesus shall what? Give life also to your mortal bodies. You will get life. This is pictured in the what? The resurrection, which is what? Reincarnation of Jesus as an angel of the Lord descending from heaven. And what's an angel? An angel is an angle of light. If you look at the word angel, you will see angle. So that's what angel is. It's an angle of light that was shone and flashed on Jesus when he rose again. All right. The ruling spiritual kingdom and rolling away the stone from the door of the tomb. Okay. The angel in man's consciousness is the spiritual I am. Okay. We all have that angle of light in us. I am the resurrection and the life. The tomb represents the most negative phase of the material thought or the human ignorance. That's what the tomb represents. It wasn't a literal tomb. The descent of the spiritual ego into consciousness brings divine intelligence and power within and without. His appearance was as lightning, and his remnant white as snow. The first affirmation of the I am for his body is that it is not under any limitation of material thought, that it is free with the freedom of spirit. That's when you experience true freedom. That's when you're not in bondage. Okay? And even if somebody take your body and put it in bondage, you could still be free because you are not the body. Okay? You are not the body. If you don't believe me, go look at an example of that. Go look at the movie Hurricane. Go look at Daniel in the lion's den. Go look at Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. It wasn't them, okay? It wasn't them. They knew that they were not the body. They were free from the bondage, okay? Now, he is not here, for he is risen. The second affirmation of the I am for its body is a swift and universal proclamation of omnipresence and activity in all realms of consciousness. Go quickly and tell his disciples he is risen. And go before you in Galilee, there shall ye see him. Lo, I have told you. Now, Jesus resurrected, or Yeshua, whatever you want to call it, resurrected the body that was crucified. This is foreseeable, brought out in the scripture account of the crucifixion. He did this by putting into the body the true state of consciousness. So family, that's how our ancestors, okay, back in antiquity, they would what? They would mummify their bodies because they knew they had the potential and power, okay, and the discernment and the skill to come back into that body with a renewed mind, a renewed consciousness. Okay, that's all Jesus did. Put on that new man, that after God have been created in righteousness and holiness of truth. You cannot step into your new man living a lie. So I don't care what religion you follow. If you're living a lie, you will not be renewed. We can resurrect our body just as Jesus resurrected his. Follow me. We can overcome and make our body like the body of Jesus. We must do this. The law of the Spirit of life in Jesus Christ make me free from the law of sin and of death. We resurrect our body by putting a new what? A new mind into it. That's why the Bible said what? To become new, to become whole, you have to renew your mind. If you keep going with the same old ways, oh, well, I'm a slave, oh, well, I'm broke, oh, well, I'm poor, oh, well, I'm black, oh, the system got something against me, oh, I cannot do this, oh, I cannot do that. Guess what? You will never be renewed. You will never be renewed. And that's how they keep you in bondage. With your thoughts, your mind. Your minds are being governed. Hence, governmental departments controlling your faculties. They are controlling your disciples. All right. Now, ignorance and sin kill the body. Understanding, understanding, and overstanding and righteousness brings it to life. That's the only time you will get life, is when you're living a righteous life. And one of the basic laws, okay, universal laws, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That right there, I promise you, brothers and sisters, will elevate you into righteousness. It will give you life. But if not just that, that's not the only thing. You have to have an understanding of who you are, the I am in you. You have to know that, okay? The 3 days that Jesus was in the tomb represent the three movements of the mind that are involved in overcoming error. Again, Jesus wasn't a literal man, okay? Jesus wasn't no real man in no tomb. All that stuff is allegory. And I could go prove it to you in Galatians as well, where it says the stories are allegory. Don't play with me now. I'm teaching you your true power. The 3 days that Jesus was in the tomb represents the three movement of the mind. It's all in the mind that are involved in overcoming error. First, non-resistance and humility. Second, the taking on of divine activity. And or receiving the will of God. And thirdly, the assimilation and the fulfillment of the will, which is the divine will, because that had to be fulfilled. Okay? In individual consciousness, let me tell y'all what the Sabbath is. Okay? In individual consciousness, the Sabbath is perfect rest in spirit. That's what Sabbath means. But of course, people take it to mean something physical. When your mind is at rest, when you're not focusing on working, okay, you're not watching TV, you're just chilling. All right, you could choose a day for that. That is a perfect rest in the spirit. After the cleansing of the mind follows the introduction and the activity of truth principles. Jesus arose late on the Sabbath day. In consciousness, the two women, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary, symbolizes what? The feminine side of the soul forces of Jesus, the manifest man. That's why we are reflections of each other. Okay, she is my Mary Magdalene and the Mary, the one who gave birth to me, and the Mary, the woman, the wife, the feminine aspect. Okay, of the forces of the manifestation of the man. Okay, Mary Magdalene wasn't a real woman. Okay, it is in the consciousness. It is in the conscious, the two women in consciousness, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary, it symbolizes what? The feminine side of the soul, forces of Jesus, the manifest man. Mary Magdalene signifies love, redeemed. All right? The other Mary represents pure life thoughts welling up from the subconsciousness. Okay? Meaning that, giving birth. Because everything that comes into the consciousness, it comes from what? The subconscious, which is Mary, the mother. Birthing, getting pregnant. And then Mary Magdalene was his woman, the love of his life. She redeemed, she proclaimed her love, her loyalty. They will not tell you that, and they will not teach you the truth. Because they want you to keep serving the man and not ascending into the Christ. You see what I'm saying? But all that's done intentionally if y'all don't know. Okay? Most of them are doing it for a buck. They're doing it for an offering. And I said most of them. I'm not saying all. Because I don't like putting everybody into a stereotypical situation. All right? Now, the angel of the Lord represents positive spiritual thought of the perfect law of life. Okay? The perfect law of life. The angel of the Lord represents positive spiritual thought of perfect law of life. The watchers at the tomb are the thoughts that tend to limit the activity of the body consciousness. In other words, keeping it in check. The disciples represent ideas of what? Divine mind that have centers of action in body consciousness. In other words, your faculties. All right? The spiritual meaning of the two women being sent to tell the disciples of the resurrection is what? That divine love and life must be felt in the centers of action in the body consciousness as a result of what? Spiritual thought, which is the angel, the angels of light, right? Before a demonstration or resurrection is complete. Before the resurrection is complete, Mary Magdalene, okay? Pardon me, before the resurrection is complete, all right, the two women that was sent to the disciples, what? They must first go forth and talk to the disciples and tell the disciples of the resurrection. Now, all that family, all that's internal, all right? Which is resurrection, the divine love, and the life force that gave birth must be felt right in the center of the action in consciousness, in body consciousness, as a result of the spiritual thought, which is the angel, okay, before a demonstration or resurrection is complete. Jesus did not leave the planet. Man, listen, man, y'all think this is a game. This is not a game, man. This is not a game, okay? Jesus did not leave the planet like they want you to think, okay? At his ascension, he simply entered what? The inner spiritual realms. So when they got you out there looking for Jesus in the sky, he's going to come in a chariot of fire and save you. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry to disappoint you today. And I'm not here to criticize, make fun. I'm here to tell you the truth. Okay? You want to find Jesus, you got to go within yourself. You want to find the higher self, and guess what? That's why to go to the higher self, you have to go through what? Go through the Son, Jesus, which is within you, because it's you. You own it all. Okay? Jesus did not leave the planet. Okay? Because what? It wasn't a real body. Okay? At his ascension, he simply entered the inner spiritual realms. He will become visible to those who what? Put on Christ. You have to become the Christ family to experience that. You got to put on Christ, the mind of Christ, okay? And manifest their what? Incorruptibility on the undying bodies. Many are conscious of his presence in some degree, but they do not see him as he is, because they have not brought their what? Faculties of apprehension up to his what? Standards. So everybody else out here screaming Jesus and Jesus and Jesus, they have no idea what Jesus is, who Jesus is. They have never seen him. They have never met him, because they have not what? They have a basic understanding now, but they don't have a full comprehension of who he is. Why? Because they have not brought their faculties of apprehension up to what? His standard. Okay? Now, whether they are hypocrites knowingly or unknowingly, I don't know, but they are hypocrites because they don't know. So it could be because of ignorance, but they have to learn to seek the truth for themselves. When we awake in his likeness, and that's gonna see Psalms 17:15, then we shall what? See him as he is. You have to be like something. You have to walk in somebody's shoes to experience their true story. So you have to be like Jesus and walk like Jesus, be like Jesus. Then you will see him as who he is. This does not come about through what? Souls leaving the body. But it is accomplished by what? Refining, spiritualizing, and raising both soul and body to higher degrees of what? Power. So when you go somebody dying, they were such a good man or woman, they're going to go meet Jesus in the sky. No, they're not going to meet no Jesus in the sky. Okay? Because what? This does not come about through the soul leaving the body, but it only comes and is accomplished by what? Refining, spiritualizing, and raising both the soul and the body to a higher degree of what? Power internally. Okay? Jesus exists in a realm of what? Being, where the limitations of form are dissolved. No limitations whatsoever. That's where Jesus exists. You want to find Jesus? Find a realm with no limitations. That's where Jesus exists. That's where he went to. And guess where that is? Within your own mind. Because you could take your mind and go anywhere. That's where Jesus is. Yeshua, whatever you want to say, I don't care. Zeus, Buddha, I mean, you could call it, Devante, Sandra. It don't matter what you call it. It doesn't matter. It's just a name. It is the essence that we are dealing with, the characteristics. Now, he lives in the body idea, okay? It's absolute. When we have identified ourselves with the father/mother mind, as Jesus identified himself with it, again, it. You see, they're identifying father as a it, so it could be a mother as well, but it's an essence, okay? We shall see him face to face in his spiritual what? Reality. So you could never see Jesus face to face unless, okay, you have done those things. But while we are in the consciousness of the physical body, which is Jesus, appears to us in what? That form. Because we are still in the physical flesh. Those who see Jesus in these days as a man with form see what? A mental picture impressed upon their souls by Jesus. Okay? It is just, again, they have to give you what? A mental image, a picture. But you are not actually seeing Jesus. You're seeing a representation of what they tell you he is. He stood by Paul in the same way. Many have seen him in this mind mirage, but we shall not see him as he is until we awake in his likeness. If the mind has grasped the capacity and the power of spiritual ideas, then the appearance of Jesus will what? Be understood. All right? Jesus was keenly conscious of the character of God, the I am, and his own relationship with him/her or it. Again, it's a personal relationship. He knew God, the I am, as what? Unlimited love and as ever-present, abundant life. That's what the true essence of the great I am is, the great spirit. He knew him slash her slash it as wisdom and supply. He knew God as father, mother, it, who is ever ready and willing to supply every need of the human heart. So, for all you religious people, why aren't you getting your needs? Or just people in general. Let me stop, going at religious people. It's not about that, okay? But people in general, when you truly have a true understanding, you will know that you will not have any needs, okay? Let's just put it that way, all right? Now, he knew that as Son of God, he had access to every blissful or blissfulness, to all the wisdom, love, and help of the father slash mother mind. Jesus did not simply believe that the words he spoke were true. He knew that they were true. You see, there's a difference between believe and know. And even Jesus is telling you, I don't just believe, I know. And that's what I'm telling you. I just don't believe what I'm telling you is true. I know it's true. Okay? His words were what? Pregnant with meaning. They were vital, living words, which carried conviction, which produced immediate results. Why do you think a lot of people right now, okay, that are believing and worshiping in Jesus, they don't produce immediate results? Why? Because when they speak, their words are not pregnant with meaning. Okay? Their words are not pregnant with meaning because they don't know exactly what Jesus is, who Jesus is, where Jesus is. You see what I'm saying? Jesus is the way, shower. He came that we might have life more abundantly. That is, he came to awaken man to the possibilities of his own what? Of his own nature. He didn't say of the nature of God, of something out there in the sky. No, he said he came to awake you of your own nature. So why aren't they teaching you that? Jesus came to say, now look, you are not me. I'm not you in the flesh. You are you and I am me. As a matter of fact, I'm going to even tell you something. If you believe who I am, that means you're supposed to believe who you are. And guess what? You could do greater things than I am. But you have to learn the possibilities of your nature, of your own nature, not nobody else's, but yours. Okay? As he is, so in this world, and that's in 1 John 4:17, he came to bear witness to the truth, not some of the truth, but the truth. He used the one true way to realization of eternal life and the universal consciousness, which is the universal consciousness is actually what the true Great Spirit is, God. Therefore, his influence on the race cannot be what? Measured. It is infinite and eternal. Jesus' crucifixion of the Jews were under the dominion of an earth-minded priesthood. They were in a state of what? Ignorance as regards spiritual things and did no thinking for themselves. You hear that? No thinking for themselves. And that's what a lot of you are doing. You're going through these churches, you don't think for yourself, okay? And that's what Jesus is talking about. Where's your own mind, your own city, your own consciousness is being governed by somebody else. Jesus' crucifixion of the Jews were under the dominion of the earth-minded priesthood, okay? They were in a state of ignorance, a state of not knowing as regards to spiritual things. They didn't know about spiritual things, okay? And did no thinking for themselves. Hence, they could not recognize or comprehend the things of which Jesus spoke to them. They were looking for what? A temporal king who would restore them. by war and conquest, the earthly glory of Solomon. Isn't that what they're doing today? That's what religion is. Religion is an army. And to bring back that army, that's what religion is. So people are looking for earthly kings, earthly, presidents, you know what I mean, to control them, to control your nature. And what do? You sign your nature away with a signature. I mean, I'm just saying, man, I could go on and on and on and on, but I'm not gonna get into into this right now. But anyway, all right. When Jesus tried to teach them of spirit, of a spiritual idea, the Christ within what? Within where? Themselves, the hope of glory, which is in I think that's Colossians chapter 1:27, that would free them from what? Every bondage of the mind, body, and environment. What? They crucify him. And that's what many people do to me. Don't matter how much I try to show them to save themselves, they're going to crucify me. And so I'm not worried about it. Because like I said, I am the Christ. You are the Christ. You just have to walk like Jesus did and do what Jesus did. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. So I tell people, especially again, I have to go back to people who, follow Jesus and believe in Jesus. A lot of them don't know what it is. And I tell them I live more of a life than Jesus than they do. And they just can't see it. Because I tell them it wasn't a real entity, because they don't get it. Because they're ministers that minister to them and not telling them the truth. All right? Jesus Christ. Christ is the perfect idea of what? God-man or God-woman. Okay? Christ is the perfect idea of God for man or God for woman. Jesus is the perfect expression of that divine idea of man. Okay? So that's why I told you Jesus and Christ are two different entities. All right? Jesus is the expression of Christ in the flesh. Jesus wasn't the Christ. I'm going to repeat that. Jesus, okay? Jesus is the perfect expression, okay, of divine idea of man. But yet still Christ is the perfect expression of the I am in man. Okay? So Jesus is physical. Christ is the spiritual. Okay? And then they make a perfect marriage to become whole. All right? Now, Jesus Christ is a union of what two? You see, Jesus by himself is not the union. That's why they say Jesus is the bride. You see, y'all have to get what they're talking about. Okay? Get what they're talking about. Jesus is an entity by itself, and Christ is another entity. So now, Jesus Christ is what? The union of the two. The idea, which is the Christ, and the expression, which is Jesus, or in other words, he is the perfect man demonstrated. Okay? Jesus' prayers were answered because he always dwelt in what? Consciousness of the perfect harmony with the Father/Mother/it. All right? The affirmations, his meditations, what you call prayer, okay? They were always answered. Why? Because he always dwelt in the consciousness, within the realm, okay? Within the spirit of perfect harmony of the universal all. When we ask in his name, it is with an earnest desire for the consciousness which Jesus possessed. The Christ within each of us is ever seeking perfect expression. You see, you have Christ in you seeking the perfect expression of what it's supposed to be. But you cannot identify your Christ. Therefore, your Jesus cannot be a perfect man or woman. Because you haven't found your Christ. You haven't found the ideals of what Christ is. So therefore, your Christ is always seeking, because it need a host. But it need the body of Jesus Christ. The Jesus, it need that body. So it's always seeking to express itself in you. And it should be our earnest effort to have our mind and our heart clear and our open channels in order that he may more perfectly work through us. You got to clear your channels. You got to clear your mind. You got to clear your heart. All this animosity, all this hatred, all this jealousy. There's no way you could have that and tell me you are from Christ. You are a liar. You are a liar. I don't care what building you in. You haven't found Christ. Stop deceiving yourself. Okay? Now, let us proceed. This harmonious relationship between the I am God and the man is attained by what? Prayer and meditation, and by constantly affirming God's the I am presence and power. You see how you achieve that? I'm not vibing with the word prayer, because a praise to pray on people, I don't like that. So I'm going to use meditation on that one. Okay? But it has to be constant. It has to be affirmed. That's why you have affirmations. Okay? Jesus, the man of Nazareth, son of Mary, the savior of mankind, according to present day. Again, according to present day. Meaning that it wasn't that way in the past. Man. Woo. I'm giving y'all the real, man. Let me see how long I've been on here. I'm not even sure, but anyway, it's all good. All right, let me see. Give me something. Let me just stop sharing this real quick. I want to see how long I've been on here. Wow, 2 hours. Woo! Well, I'm gonna do a couple more minutes. I'm gonna go for 3 hours. Then I will probably do a part 2 to this, because this is a lot. All right, this is a lot. Okay, but I'll do a part 2. I will do a part 2. Okay. Now, let me see where I was at. Okay, Jesus, the man of Nazareth, son of Mary, the savior of mankind, according to what? According to present day Christian belief. It's a belief. And in the word belief, you remember what Jesus said? I just don't believe, I know. So it's not a knowing, it's a belief. And in belief, there's lie. Okay? Lie, he is the I am in man. The self, the directive, the power. Raised to divine understanding, understanding, overstanding, and the power, the I am identity. The I am is an identity. Okay? As the result of lack of what? Conscious connection between the thinking faculty and the fountainhead of existence, humanity had reached a very low state. In other words, they fell. I'm going to repeat that again. As a result of lack of conscious connection between what? Thinking faculty. In other words, people start thinking for themselves. And the fountainhead, their crown chakras of existence, humanity had reached a very low state. Then came Jesus of Nazareth, whose mission was to what? Connect the thinker with the true source of thought. And that's what I'm here to do. Again, I am a Christ, and I am here to resurrect the dead. I am taking up the work of Jesus and Yeshua. That's what I'm doing. So that's what I'm here for. My mission is to connect the thinker with the true source of thought. Thinking at random had brought man into a what? Deplorable condition. And his salvation depending on what? On his, again, joining his consciousness to the Christ. Only through that connection could it be brought back into his what? Edenic state. The church what? Of God. Which is what? The Garden of Eden. That perfect place. Okay? The place of abundance. Where there's no death, but life. Okay? It is plain in any reasonable, unprejudiced mind that Jesus of Nazareth was a religious what? Reformer, a mission from what? On high. He was a religious reformer. He never said he had a religion. He was here to reform people that believed in religion. That's what I'm here to do. Okay? With a mission from on high, that he had an insight into those things which are ever mysteries to men, immersed, in the sense consciousness, and that through his knowledge and in harmony with his mission, he set into motion spiritual ideas that ever since his ministry have been operative in the world. It is evident to even a cursory reader of his life and teachings that he was the representative of thoroughly organized plan to help men into a higher realization of God and their relation with him or her. I'm going to read that again because a lot that may go through over some people's heads. I'm going to read this again. Where we at? Okay, right here. We're going to read from here. Okay. What? He set into motion spiritual ideas that ever since his ministry have been what? Operative in the world. It is evident to even a cursory reader of his life and teachings that he was the what? Representative of a thoroughly organized plan to help man. So Jesus was created to help man into a higher realization of what? Their God self and the relation with their higher self. That was the plan. That was the goal. Okay. So I think, I think that was it, man. Okay, I'm done with that. All right, beautiful. Yeah, so we good. So I broke down all of that, and I broke down exactly what the I am, the God means, and Jesus is. All right, guys. So with that being said, I hope you guys found some value in that. Once again, my goal is to bring you the truth, make you wholesome, make you holistic. All right, not just from a physical perspective, not just from a financial perspective, not just from an emotional perspective, not just from a mental, but also spiritual perspective. You see what I'm saying? When you know the truth and you walk in the truth, then nobody could shake your foundation. You see what I'm saying? All the illusions that we are being taught about what Jesus is, who Jesus was, they're not telling you the truth. All right, you were exposed to the truth. Your ears heard the truth today. And I promise you that will resonate with your soul and your spirit more than what you were taught, because you were not taught the correct way. You were not taught the truth. You were deceived. Whether it was done intentionally, I don't know. I don't know the hearts of the people teaching that to people. But one thing I know is this: you were not taught the truth. Okay, so that's good. What I will do next time is, when I do this kind of videos, okay, we are going to touch on the disciples. All right, I'm going to break them down, what each and every one of them mean. I will break that down for you. Or also one of the sisters wanted the Bible. Here we go. I put it in the chat again. I will put it in the description on Facebook. I will make sure that it's in there so you have a copy of that yourself. All right, guys. So you guys have an amazing continuation. I hope you found some value in what here I brought to you. Again, do your own research, do your own in-search, and find your own truth. Because the truth of the matter is, each individual is an example of Jesus. But we have to follow the life that he lived, the path that he walked. Again, whether you say Yeshua or Jesus, it don't matter to me. I don't care. You could have said Patsy. It don't matter. The point is, did you get the message? You see what I'm saying? And when you follow that path, yes, you have to go through the same experiences that Jesus went through in order to step into the Christ. You feel what I'm saying? So that you could have eternal life. That's what this is. You see what I'm saying? And then that eternal life basically means that, where the physical body will have the host in it and it will never age. It will never grow old. No gray hairs, no sagging breasts, no sagging bodies, none of that. Okay? That eternal life can be expressed in the flesh once we create that new realm of existence. All right? But we have to go through this phase. We have to go through this phase. We have to, because that's part of the journey. You feel me? So, I wish you guys nothing but success. I'm sending lots of love and positive energy out there. Okay, know that you have the power to heal yourself from within. You are in control of that. You are the master of your own life. Okay, your higher self, your I am, is within you. It's a personal relationship that you have to tap into. Stop looking outside for that. Stop going into buildings looking for that. It's within you. And once you start realizing that, then you will be on your way. Okay? So I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you. I love y'all.